Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going back into the bad Sudoku with Michael Lefkowitz, aka Juggler, and we're going to look at bad German whispers. So if you saw the previous video, we had done bad Kropkes, where we had Kropke dots, but there was no determination of which dot was which version of Kropke. So we had to work through all that kind of thing and do a much more roundabout way of getting through it. Well, this is now going to be German whispers with some sort of caveat. And I don't know. Oh, I just read it there, what the caveat was. Well, this could be interesting. So again, it's called Bad German Whispers by Michael Lefkowitz. And let's take a look at the rules so we can understand what is what. So normal Sudoku, every row, column, and 3x3 box will contain the digits 1 through 9 once each. Adjacent digits on a green line differ by at least 5 unless they are the same digit. Now that's a tricky one. So it means that these could both be 5s, technically, from this perspective. Now, it couldn't be from another perspective, but we could think about these could also be 2s, both of them, because they are next to each other, so they're adjacent on the line. So this is going to be definitely something we're going to have to dig into this thing and see if we can figure out exactly how to get reductions when we can't necessarily do the normal high, low, high, low, high, low groupings. So with that said, let's not spend too much time talking about this in the rule sets. Let's get into the solve and see if we can work out what is going on here. So links in the description below. Let's get at it. I'm gonna start with the 5s because we can make some of the normal determinations of 5s. Like any German whisper line that sees another German whisper line in its row, column, or region cannot be a 5. Now I can't remove these because these could all be 5s. This one can't be a 5 because it would force both of these to be a 5, which actually tells us that this is a 5. I should have kept my coloring there, and I'll I'm keeping my highlighting by using my coloring. This can't be. This can't be. Let's go through that again. None of these. This couldn't be. No, no, no. No, none of these are. This one can't be because it forced this to be, and then what is that? That's not. That's not. No, 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 no. Okay, so these are all the non-5s at the moment, and this one obviously isn't a 5 either. Now, we do have an X-wing here in 5s then, so none of these are. One of these is, so this one isn't, which means this one is perfect. Now we know these are all 5s, because you can never put a 5 on a German whisper unless it's the same digit. Now, all of these can just get right out. Let's make sure we color those correctly. Okay, so one of these will be a 5. One of these will be a 5. One of these, well, we're going to find more. These guys can't be, so one of these are, so this one can't be either, so this one is. And then we can probably, yeah, we can just put in these last bits of 5-age and then get rid of our coloring. Okay, so that was a fairly simple introduction, I think, to this puzzle. But I think it's going to get a little bit more complicated now. Because again, we have to think fairly hard about what we can and can't put on these German whispers anymore. Now, my initial reaction here is to think about 4s and 6s because they are normally very reduced. Could this be a 4? I think the answer is yes, because we could put a 1. Oh, no, we can't. Okay, this one couldn't be specifically because we would have to put a 1 and a 4 next to it, and you can't put 4s in the same region. Okay, we can start there. And we could probably do 4s and 6s together. So no, 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 n's can always be 4s or 6s. No, no. Well, this one I cannot say no on. Because this could be a 4, this could be a 4, this could be a 9. I think I said 1 previously when I was talking about 4s. I didn't mean to do that. The 6s, if this was a 6, this could be a 6, and this could be a 1. That would work. So that one we cannot exclude. What about you? If this was a 4 or a 6, this could be a 4 or a 6, and this could be. So we can't exclude that one. This one we can. This one I don't think we can. Again, we could repeat digits. This one, this one, this one. You could still be. You could still be. You could. Well, yeah, this one could still be a 4 or a 6 because these could be the same digit on each side of it. You can't be. 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 You could. You can't. No, no, no. Okay. Now these are all 4s and 6s where they could possibly be. Let's see if we can think about any of these a little bit further, just to make sure we're right. Yeah, any of these ones where it moves off on a diagonal into another region could be a 4 or a 6. Because we could always put a 4 and a 4, 9. Well, maybe this one can't, because we think about it a little bit further. If this was a 4, no, it could be, because these could both be 9s. Okay. Gotta switch back and forth between those thought processes. This one could be a 4, because it could have a 9 and another 4. And then we could put a 9 here as well. So, what do we get out of any of this? We don't have any X-wings. We're pretty close, but not quite. If we could rule this guy out, it would help us, but I don't know we can. Let's think about it, though. If that was a 4, this would be a 9, this would be a 4. This would have to be a 9. That would work. Yeah, so we can't rule that one out. That's a shame, because if we could, we'd get an X-wing. And then we'd give ourselves a digit. You can't be, because it branches. Because if this is a 4, both of these would have to be 9s. This guy couldn't, this guy can be, because again, it could be a 4 with another 4 and a 9, or it could be a 4 with 2 9s, etc., etc. Now, is there anything that is useful here? That's a really good question that I don't know the answer to. So I guess we know that these are 4s and 6s. These are 4s and 6s in some capacity. Could this one ever be? Let's think about it a little further. Because if this is a 4, this would have to be a 4-9 pair, which means this one has to be the 9 because it's in the same region. We can't obviously do 2 9s, so this would be a 4. But if these are both 4s, these have to both be 9s, and that would break. So that won't, okay, so this one can't be. That's our in, I think, because the same thing will happen if this was a 6. This would be a 1. This would have to be a 6. And then these would both be 1s. Yeah, this one can't be. Okay, cool. So we found something there, which means none of these can be. Now that still doesn't give us the X-wing we were looking for. But maybe there's something else. Well, these just are 4, 6. Let's put that in. Maybe there's something else similar to that. I really want to get rid of this guy, because that will... Well, there's no way this could ever not... Let's think about it that way. Is it ever possible this is not a 4 or a 6? If it is, we have an X-wing on 4s and 6s. We'd have to put a 4 and a 6 here. This is a 4 or a 6, which means this is a 1 or a 9. This is a 1, a 9, a 4, or a 6. Because we can't rule out the possibility of the digit repeating. So this absolutely is one of them. The other one is up here. Now, if the other one is up here, it creates an X-wing, which means that it isn't one of these, so it is one of these. So we get 2 4 6s. There's another 4 6 here, 4 or 6, whichever one it is, and there's another one over here, whichever one it is. Now, if this is a 4 or a 6, this is a 1 or a 9. And what about this grouping? So whatever this 4 6 is, this is a 1 or a 9. This then is a 4 or a 6. Because if it's a 4 and this is a 9, this has to be another 4. If it's a 6, this is a 1, this has to be another 6. Okay? Now, does that rule this out as a 4 or a 6? It doesn't necessarily. Because if this is a 4 and this is a 6, we're not repeating that digit. So this one being a 4, 4 with a 9, this would be a 6, 6 with a 1. And those 6s don't see each other. But I guess we said this one can't be 4 or 6, though. But then this still could be a 6 with the 1. It can't be a 6 because there's a 1 here with a 1, 1. This can't be a 1. Look at the given digits. 9. These are both 4s. This is a 6. This is a 6. This is a 1. This is a 4 and a 9. This is not 6 or 1. Okay, we're getting somewhere then. One of these is a 4. One of these is a 6. Good. Well, this one can't be the 6. Oh, no, it can be, because it could be 6, 6, 1. Now, unless we can put a 6 in one of these to rule that out, then we can push it over. Let's try to see if we can do that. Okay. If this is a 4, this has to be a 9. This can never be a 6, so it's not in. That doesn't remove our option here, but that's fine. One of these will be a 4. This one can't be the 4, because we can't put a 9 here, or another 4. So you're not 4. This one can't be 4, because we can't put a 9 here. This is 4. Good. Can we take it any further? This can't be a 4. Okay, let's do it that way. Let's think about these guys. This guy can't, we said we couldn't be a 4 or 6 because we had to have 2 9s. That's out. This can't be a 4 because that forces this to be a 9. We already have a 9. So one of these is the 4, which means none of these are. So one of these 2 is. We can rule this out as being a 4 for the same reason we could have ruled this out from being a 4. Because if this is a 4, this has to be a 4 or a 9, and it can't be. You're not 4, you are. Which means you are 4. Okay, one of these is a 4. Once we get through our 4s, we can hopefully look at our 9s next, or 6s next. Okay, so one of these is a 4, so this is a 4 or 5 pair, Because again, this guy rules out those, this one rules out any of those, and these couldn't ever be 4. So this is a 4 or 5 pair, which means this is the other 4. We have an X-wing left on 4s. Fine. Now we can go looking at 6s. And we can just go a little bit more bulk in our coloring, because we've used the coloring to help our 4s out. Now we're getting into 6s. So either this can't be a 6, which is going to give us a 6 up here. Same reason this couldn't be a 4. If this is a 6, this has to be a 1 or a 9. It can't be either, which means this is 6. None of those are. Neither of these. One of these two is going to be a 6, which means this one isn't, which means one of these is. That gets us into the point where we thought we were going to have these guys going anyway. I don't know who you are. Leave a message if you so desire. This is a 6, so none of these are. What more can we say? We said we could rule this one out. Yeah, this can't be a 6 because this can't be 1 or 6. So one of these is the 6, which means this one is good. I'll just finalize the coloring. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to do much for us. This one could still be a 6 because these could both be 1s. So I don't know if we're going to get a finality of the 6s here, but maybe we can start to use the information now that we have. I'll leave the coloring for now. It's not going to hurt to have it up there. So let's think about working on some of these digits. Now we can't, again, go back to just thinking about every other digit could acts as a normal German whisper, because that's not the case. So we have to go low here. 1, 2, 3. Obviously can't be 4. This one is 1, 2, 3. This has to go up high because we can maintain the normal German whispers in a given region because we can't repeat digits. So we're looking at 7 or 8, back down low, 1, 2, 3, back up to high, 7 or 8, 1, 2, 3. And this can't be a 1. Therefore, this can never be a 3 because it has to be flanked by a 7 and an 8. You're a 2. Good. Now this is a given 3, which means this is a given 8. This has to go low, 1 or 2. Now that isn't going to quite get to our 6 yet, or define our 6s yet. Let's continue the process then. This has to be high, so 6, 7, 8, or 9. It can't be 6 or 8, so it's 7 or 9. Back down to low. Can't be 1 or 4. Okay, so we're going to have a repeat digit here by how we've worked out what all this can be. So this can't be a 1 anymore, because if it's a 1, it can't correlate to this because it has to repeat a digit. Good. This has to go back high. Can't be 6, so it's 7 or 8. Back down low. Can't be 1 or 4, so it is 2 or 3. Now, same concept over here. We're going to have 2s and 3s, so this has to be an 8. This will be a 7, 9 pair. This will be a given 2. Therefore, this is a 1. These are 6 and 7. Still don't think we can rule these guys in or out yet. Or can we? This guy wait, maybe, yeah, this guy can't be a 6, can he? Because he can't have 1, 1. Okay, we could have ruled this guy out earlier. He can't be a 6, because this would be a 1, and this would be another 6. But we would also have to put a 1 here, and we have 2 1s. So this is the 7, these are the 2 6s. We can say none of these are. So let's put these as the 6s. Now we know we've got an X-wing left over on 6s. We can get rid of our coloring and get back to semi-normal Sudoku. All right. Where do we have another? Because we can't, again, there could be a 7 in one of these. We don't know. It's either going to be a 1, 2, or a 7. This one can't be a 2 or a 7, so I guess it is a 1. Therefore, this isn't. That doesn't rule out this being a 2 or a 7, though, still. This has to go up high, 7, 8, 9. Can't be 7. This has to go back down low. Can't be 1 or 4, so it's 2 or 3. That does tell us this now has to be a 7, because we can't get the 2 or 3 to go with a 2. So 7. 3 can't go with a 7, so that's a 2. Okay, let's think about these guys. They are 2, 3, and 8. This can't be an 8, so these will be the same digit, and then this is the 8. Good. Where else? Let's try down here, because we have an in, so we're going to know some values. This is 9. This is 7 and 9. This has to go low, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. This has to go back up high, 7 or 8. Back down to low, 1, 2, 3. Can't be 1. Then back up high, so 7 or 8. So again, we have a 7, 8 pair. This has to be a 2 to satisfy both of them. This is not a 2. These are a 1, 3 pair left over in the region, so this has to be the 2. These have to be the same. These have to be the same, which means this is the 1, 3. Good. So these are now 2 digits that we can put in. 7, 9. Not quite resolved. And these guys are 1 and 3, looks like. We can do that. This is 3 and 1, because we have a given digit. Those given digits, man, I always just, my mind focuses on blue, not black. So, anywho, let's see. This guy here, let's think about it from the column perspective first. It could be a 2. That will work with this. It can't now be 3, 4, 5, or 6, so 7, 8, or 9. So again, it's either going to be a 2 or it's going to be a high value. Okay, that doesn't really do a whole lot for us at the moment. Let's think this way, maybe. This 9, this could still be a 9. Or it could be a low digit, 2, 3. Can't be 4 or 1. Now, okay, this can't be low because you can't put a high digit here. 7 or 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all looking here. This is low, 1, 2, or 3. So therefore, this has to be a 9. This can't be a 2 by that guy. Okay, so now we're back to normal Sudoku in this cell. These could be 6, can't be 7, or 8, can't be 9. Okay. Now let's take a look at space Sudoku here, because we're running out of spots of German whisper that are going to help us, it seems. Yes, we can do a little bit of this. This is a 2, because none of these can be. This is not a 2. So all we did was remove the option there. This is 7, 8, or 9 because of what's left over. This is not a 9, sorry. So this is a 9. This has to be low. 1 or 3. We do get a 1, 3 pair. This is a 7, 8 pair, so this is a 6 and a 1. What are these two now? Well, this one just is 6. Let's do that. And then these two are 3 and 2. We can do that. 3, 2. That 3 says this is 1. This is 3 and 1. That doesn't differentiate these. What are 5, 7, and 8? Do I want to do that? Well, we know these are not 5s anymore. because we've lost the 3 cells to allow the X-wing. It just becomes that. This is not a 6. Let's just think about what these are, because we have everything else in this row. So we've got 5, 7, and 8. This is not 5. This is not 7 or 8. It is 5. This is 8. This is 7. That's 9. This is 7 and 9. This 5 gives us our 4, 5, which is going to tell us the 4 down here. These are 2 and 3, so this is 3 and 2. Okay, what about you two? We need a 3, it goes here, and we need an 8. This is now a given 7. What are these? 2 and... no, not 2. 8 and 5. 5, 8. Huh, nothing quite there. Okay, this 3 here, though. I didn't notice that. This means this is 8, 7. 8, 7. And that's going to break these open. 5 and 8. And this is 5, and this is 7, and this is 8. There we go. Solve the puzzle. Solution is correct. That one is actually easier, I thought, than the crop key. A lot less deductions required, at least from my perspective, like I said. So once you got into thinking about, well, first off, getting 5s in there was fairly routine, although there were some reductions because you could repeat in a couple of instances. Not very many, but a couple. Then starting thinking about the 4s and the 6s, which are normally very restrictive. This time they were not quite as restrictive, but still fairly restrictive. And if you thought about how things played out, you could start to remove those restrictions to get yourself going. And once you got a foothold on this thing, it started to move quite well. So really enjoyed that one. Again, I thought that one was easier than the crop key. Let me know if you thought it was, or if you thought this one was harder, or the other one was easier. It could very well just be down to personal preference. I'm not quite sure. But I really enjoyed that one. For a bad puzzle, it was a great puzzle. So hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.